The story begins with a young boy named Akiteru contemplating love, muttering to himself that he finds it strange to be mean to someone you like. He believes true affection should be expressed through kindness, thinking that meanness might mean you do not love them at all, though he quietly admits his own understanding of such matters is limited. He arrives at his room to find the door already open and hears loud singing from inside. The noise makes him angry, so he pushes the door open with clear frustration. He sees a girl named Iroha in his room and immediately tells her she is making too much noise and must stop. Without waiting for a response, he moves to turn off the music system himself. Iroha stands up and asks when he arrived, then scolds him for entering without knocking. Akiteru replies that it is his own room and he does not need to knock. He tells her to lower the volume because it disturbs other people and questions why she wears headphones if she does not use them. Iroha teases him by asking if he wants her so badly that he is getting angry. Akiteru strongly denies this, saying he would never want her and calling her crazy. Iroha continues her teasing, suggesting he should have knocked in case she was changing her clothes. She clearly implies he wanted to see her, then asks what would happen if she called the police. Akiteru smirks and says her threats do not scare him, but she teases him further, asking who he thinks a court would believe. Akiteru explains to himself that Iroha is the sister of his friend Azuma. He does not understand why she always acts so clingy with him. Iroha lies down on his bed, causing Akiteru to blush how attractive she looks. She notices his discomfort, then produces a key from her cleavage, claiming it is proof he consented to her being there. Akiteru insists he never gave her the key for this purpose. Iroha maintains that he secretly wants to be with her and will be smelling this bed if she goes out, and he is just making excuses. He firmly tells her to get out of his room, stating he has no such motives. Iroha calls him rude and says he could be nicer, but he only repeats his demand for her to leave and never return. She then claims that since she is his friend's sister, she is like a sister to him too. Akiteru completely rejects this idea. She jokes that if he married her brother, she would officially become his sister. Akiteru tells her he does not want a sister and just wants her to go away. Suddenly, Akiteru's phone rings. He asks Iroha to either leave the room or stay completely quiet because the call is important. Iroha promises to remain silent. Akiteru answers his phone and greets his uncle, whom he formally addresses as president. His uncle remarks that it has been a long time and asks how he has been. Akiteru politely inquires about the job application he submitted. His uncle tells him to relax and call him uncle instead of president. He offers to help Akiteru with the job but mentions there are a few conditions attached. Then, unexpectedly, his uncle asks if Akiteru has a girlfriend, a question that shocks both Akiteru and Iroha. Hearing this personal question, Iroha begins to tease Akiteru by making soft cat noises close to him. Flustered and unsure how to explain the situation, Akiteru quickly tells his uncle that the sound is just a cat he recently took in. His uncle tells him to take good care of the animal before ending the call, saying he has a meeting to attend and will explain the conditions another time. After the call, Iroha lies back on his bed and complains that she is very thirsty, asking for some water. He tells her there is tomato juice in the refrigerator. She thanks him and goes to get it, leaving Akiteru to sigh. The next day, Akiteru is at school. He thinks about how life is unpredictable and believes in using every second well. He finishes both his and his friend's homework, and his friend Ozuma thanks him for the help. Ozuma offers to treat Akiteru to a meal to show his gratitude. Akiteru says it is not necessary, but Ozuma insists, saying he does not know what he would do without his help. Akiteru complains about Iroha always troubling him. Ozuma suggests that Iroha acts that way because she likes him, even that she loves him. Akiteru quickly denies this, saying she just enjoys teasing him. Ozuma says that sometimes girls show their feelings in strange ways. Then, their math teacher Sumire arrives. She starts lecturing to them, behaving like a very strict teacher. After class, a classmate runs to Akiteru, saying a first-year girl is there to see him. Akiteru goes to the entrance and finds Iroha waiting for him with a cute expression. Other students notice her and think she is adorable. Akiteru tells her to stop acting so cute because he knows she is doing it on purpose to make people suspicious of their relationship. Iroha claims she always talks to him that way. Akiteru feels she will get him into serious trouble someday. Iroha suggests that just the two of them should walk home together. Akiteru refuses and says he will call her brother Azuma instead. Iroha insists that it should be only the two of them, claiming they are a couple. Akiteru is shocked and immediately denies they are in any kind of relationship. Iroha then pretends to be hurt, saying they confessed their love to each other just yesterday. She dramatically accuses him of taking advantage of her and calls him a bad person. The entire class is shocked by this announcement. Flustered and embarrassed, Akiteru quickly takes Iroha by the arm and leads her away to a quiet place. Once they are alone, he demands to know what she is talking about, firmly stating he never wanted a girlfriend. Iroha looks at him and says she loves him, and just as he turns to walk away in frustration, she calls after him, saying he does not understand her true feelings. And just when Akiteru feels she might be telling the truth, turning red as he struggles to form a response, she suddenly reveals it was all a joke. She bursts into laughter, pointing at his bright red ears and teasing that he cannot lie about liking her because his body gives him away. Akiteru is left completely flustered, unable to form a single coherent word. Later, Akiteru meets his uncle in a restaurant to discuss the game he developed with his friends. His uncle is very impressed, praising him for creating such a successful game at a young age. Akiteru explains how hard they worked on it and shares their plans to make it even better. His uncle says he wants to introduce someone to Akiteru, but first they decide to order food. His uncle flirts with the waitress, complimenting her hands and asking her on a date. Akiteru is deeply embarrassed by this behavior, though his uncle remains confident she will accept. When Akiteru goes to the restroom, he mistakenly enters the room with broken lock. Inside, he sees a girl named Mashiro in the middle of changing her clothes. She screams in surprise and punches him hard in the face, leaving him injured. Later, back at the table, he learns that Mashiro is actually his uncle's daughter. His uncle reminds him that the two played together as children, though Akiteru has no memory of it. His uncle then explains that Mashiro is transferring to Akiteru's school for personal reasons, and he asks Akiteru to act as her fake boyfriend, protect her from potential trouble at the new school. Akiteru asks why he should agree and what he will get in return. His uncle offers his full support for Akiteru's game project. Mashiro is still furious about the restroom incident, states that she does not trust Akiteru. Akiteru says it is fine with him, and the two immediately begin to argue. His uncle observes their heated exchange and comments that they are already bonding well, a statement that both Akiteru and Mashiro strongly deny. Akiteru meets Iroha at school, where she directly tells him he seems to be acting strangely and might be hiding something. This makes Akiteru wonder how much Iroha knows about his recent activities. She specifically asks about his meeting with his uncle and whether anything went wrong there, but Akiteru quickly denies that anything happened. They then continue to their classroom together. During class, Mashiro gives herself introduction to everyone. She unexpectedly announces that she and Akiteru are dating. This surprises the whole class, making them think Akiteru is incredibly lucky. When another student asks when Mashiro first met Akiteru, she almost mentions the bathroom incident but stops herself just in time. Akiteru feels relieved that she didn't share the embarrassing story, and Mashiro refuses to answer any further questions about their first meeting. Later, Akiteru explains to Mashiro that they need to act like a real couple because of their arrangement. However, Mashiro remains uncooperative and states clearly that she hates him. She tells him not to look at her or act friendly toward her at all. Their friend Ozuma notices their unusual behavior and asks if they are keeping a secret. Akiteru promises to explain everything to him. Akiteru then reveals the entire situation to Ozuma, explaining that he is only pretending to be Mashiro's boyfriend to secure funding for their game project. Ozuma becomes surprisingly happy upon hearing this and jokes about feeling like a protective big brother. Akiteru finds this behavior unusual for Ozuma, who then adds that he thinks his sister Iroha likes Akiteru very much and considers him perfect for her. During lunch, another student approaches Akiteru. The student mentions that he thought Akiteru was interested in the junior girl, Iroha, but now it seems he has a different girlfriend. Mashiro, who is listening nearby, gives Akiteru a strange look. Akiteru quickly tells the boy that Iroha is just Ozuma's sister and there is nothing going on between them. Mashiro appears irritated after hearing this. When Akiteru asks if something is wrong, she says she is very hungry and demands that he bring her a rice ball. Akiteru tells her to get it herself, but Mashiro insists that as her boyfriend, he should do it for her. He finally brings her the rice ball, but wonders to himself why she seems to dislike him so much. Later, their homeroom teacher Sumire enters the classroom. She asks about the homework, and one student admits he did not complete it. Sumire scolds him harshly and warns that she will beat him if it happens again. After finishing her lesson, she calls Akiteru to her staff room. The other students become worried for him, but Akiteru assures them it is only about a teacher assignment and not a punishment. Akiteru goes to Sumire's office, which contains many old punishment tools. He sits on a chair, and Sumire smiles before kneeling down before him and apologizing profusely. It turns out she is the illustrator in his group for the game they made, and she has not met her current deadline. She makes excuses, saying that as a class teacher, it is her duty to conduct tests and manage assignments, and therefore she could not finish her task on time. Akiteru shows her his phone and says she has started blogging instead of working. Sumire admits that she has to do it for the money. Sumire continues to apologize, and Akiteru points out that she was just lecturing the class about meeting deadlines. Sumire confesses that she only acts strict to maintain her character as a teacher. Akiteru asks to see her progress on the project. Sumire claims she has done a lot, but when she shows him the work, he sees she has accomplished very little. He grabs her and says he will put her in the torturing cow. Sumire becomes scared and begs him not to, saying she is not vibing with the work right now. Akiteru replies that she should have come to him earlier. A flashback then shows how they first met. Akiteru was at an event, upset after failing to find something. He then saw a comic book at a stall and was amazed by the detailed artwork, thinking only a real professional could create it. He asked how it was done, and when the artist turned around, he was surprised to see it was his homeroom teacher Sumire. She commented that this was not the right way to meet, but Akiteru said it was a good way. They also discovered they live on the same floor of the same apartment building, so she could never avoid him. Sumire was upset but had no choice. Akiteru warned her that if she did not want the school to know her secret, she must work quietly and get enough sleep. Sumire misunderstood, thinking he suggested sleeping together, but Akiteru clarified that she should sleep alone to refresh her mind. Before he leaves, Sumire asks if he is Mashiro's real boyfriend. Akiteru explains the deal with his uncle. Sumire apologizes, saying he is doing so much for their team's funding, but Akiteru says it is unnecessary. They then discuss Mashiro. Sumire notes that Mashiro seems to be hiding a secret and isolating herself. She suggests that Akiteru help Mashiro enjoy her school life more. Akiteru agrees with a smile. After more conversation, Akiteru returns to class and invites Mashiro to go home together. Mashiro angrily refuses and tells him not to talk to her. The whole class watches, and Mashiro becomes embarrassed before running away. Ozuma arrives and expresses concern, saying Mashiro is a good girl but has issues. He advises Akiteru to change her negative thoughts about him. Akiteru agrees and asks Ozuma if they can walk home together, but Ozuma says he has work to do and leaves. While Akiteru is putting on his shoes to go home, Iroha appears and hugs him tightly from behind. She says she saw him alone at school and came to him. Akiteru tells her she should stay away. Iroha presses her juicy mangoes against his back and asks if he notices something soft. At first, Akiteru does not understand, but then he realizes with shock that she is not wearing a bra. Iroha laughs and says she knows he has noticed. Akiteru feels scared and embarrassed. Iroha teases him, saying she forgot to wear it by mistake. He accuses her of lying, but she insists she is telling the truth, adding that her buttons are torn and if he pushes her away, her juicy mangoes will be exposed. Iroha tells Akiteru he has no choice but to take her home. Akiteru considers running away, but he fears that if other people see Iroha in her current state, it will cause a big problem. Since she is his friend's sister, he worries about damaging his reputation and possibly canceling the contract with his uncle. With no other option, Akiteru carries Iroha on his back and says he will take her home. Seeing him agree, Iroha feels embarrassed and starts to protest. But Akiteru, already carrying her, begins to run while she continues objecting. After they have gone some distance, Iroha apologizes and asks to be put down. Akiteru sets her down, and they have a short conversation. They walk home together and talk about Mashiro. Iroha becomes concerned and asks if Akiteru likes Mashiro. Akiteru denies it. He explains the whole situation to Iroha and she understands. Akiteru expresses his confusion about how to talk to Mashiro properly. Iroha assures him not to worry and offers to give him some ideas. The next day, Akiteru acts like a servant to Mashiro, trying to do all her work for her. Mashiro becomes increasingly irritated by his behavior, but Akiteru mistakenly thinks he is impressing her. Eventually, Mashiro takes him aside and asks if he is mad. Akiteru tells her she does not need to worry, but this only seems to make her more upset. Akiteru realizes his plan is creepy and recalls that it was actually Iroha who told him to behave like a love slave to win over Mashiro. When he mentions this idea to Mashiro, she tells him it would only make her hate him more. Just then, Iroha arrives and comments that they look like they are about to kiss. Mashiro asks who Iroha is, noticing how she and Akiteru argue frequently. Mistaking their bickering for closeness, Mashiro assumes they are a couple and leaves. Akiteru is left surprised by her reaction. Iroha and Akiteru also decide to leave, and they arrive home to find their Mashiro in the corridor. She accuses Akiteru of following her, but he explains that he lives on the same floor. Iroha clarifies that she is not his girlfriend, but more like a sister since her brother is Akiteru's friend. Mashiro questions if they live together, but Akiteru denies it. He then reveals that they are all neighbors. Mashiro lives in Unit 501, Akiteru in 502, Iroha and her brother Ozuma in 503, and their teacher Sumire in 504. After learning about the apartment arrangements, Akiteru goes to talk to Mashiro. She responds negatively and goes into her room without another word. Iroha is surprised by Mashiro's cold reaction. Seeing this, Akiteru decides he must find a way to make Mashiro feel better and improve their relationship. And that is it for today. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time.